live.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Come to you, as always, from deep outer rim, far beyond the watchful eyes of the Galactic Empire. And you just watched the trailer for one of the new shows, plus within the next 5 years, that was announced at the amazing Disney's investor call, and that was, of course, Bad Batch. Wow, that was holy cow! I had not seen that yet, so wow. My name is John Mark Tolley, of course. Sorry, I just blown away by that. And joining me, as always, is Mr. Joe Cahill. Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How's everybody out there in listener land?
And, of course, also joining me is Ray Rumsey. Ray, how are you?
Hello, everybody. Hope your ears are ready for all of this news.
Oh, there's so much. Now, before we get into the details of everything that was announced, I just have one thing to ask you guys. Were you surprised by the amount that we got? Because I think people were expecting, I was expecting, maybe three or four things, but we have 10 new projects within the next 5 years. That just was like two movies and then 8 TV series. That's just, yeah. And that's not counting all the stuff from Marvel, Disney itself. There's just so much stuff coming out that, yeah. My mom is always asking me every time she about, it's like, do you have enough to talk about with Star Wars? Do you have enough to talk about Star Wars? Yes, we have enough to talk about Star Wars for a while now.
And when we don't, we make it up.
But that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I expected maybe 2 new series to be announced and maybe a movie.
Right.
10 caught me off guard.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
Yeah.
Just all the news that's coming out.
Well, let's just start right off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's just start right off with what we just saw, which was the Bad Batch trailer. That looks really amazing. And I love the fact that you're bridging that gap between the Clone Wars and the Empire. That kind of in between where the Empire is starting to form. That looks like the time period it happens with just after Order 66. So you're seeing the kind of the phase between, the Clone Wars to the Galactic Empire phase, and That's going to be a really, really interesting
era to the sport.
Yeah, I think it's the era to focus on.
Yeah, it's definitely new, and I like how it's the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Instead of just your normal everyday clones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we saw how, we saw them get introduced during the Clone Wars. And then, this show is set to show the events after Revenge of the Sith. So who the heck knows what they're going to be doing leading up to whatever they want to end it at, if they even want to.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they're definitely going to be, because we see Tarkin. So it looks like they are going to be fighting for the Empire. So that's going to be interesting to see how they weave that in. Because traditionally within Star Wars, the Empire's always been portrayed, and I know, Joe, you're going to, as the bad guys. So it'll be interesting to see how they portray that, and also it's going to be interesting to see if we see if we see the move from clone troopers to stormtroopers, and how that will work, and if they'll touch on that.
Well, I mean, this could go one of two ways. Either they were affected by Order 66, or they weren't. I feel like if they were, then they're going to be fighting for the Empire, and given their tactics, they're going to be the elite, because they play by their own rules, and each of them have their own, really specific set of skills. On the other hand of that, maybe they saw Order 66 happen, but because they were a defective batch of clones, perhaps it didn't affect them, and now they're fighting for the Resistance.
Keeping some Jedi alive.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting, to see where, and I'm glad that they're keeping the animation division alive. Because for a while that was really especially when it came to television, that was really their bread and butter. Was their animated series with Clone Wars and then Rebels, and Resistance was, kind of a miss for them. But hopefully they can get back. They did the final season of Clone Wars was amazing, and this looks to be very similar animation style to Clone Wars. So hopefully it can get back to what it was. And I didn't see, is Filoni heading this? I didn't see. I'm assuming he is.
I know that they kept talking about Kennedy during the whole thing. All of her excitement about bringing all of this to us. I'll have to dig a little deeper though, see if that's Filoni in charge of that, or if he's going to stick.
But
I'm wondering if he'll stick.
Filoni is like there.
Well, from what I saw, Filoni and Favreau will be doing the Rangers of the New Republic.
Okay,
but I didn't see anything about who's running, who's heading up Bad Batch.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because that, in concurrence with the Ahsoka series and the Mandalorian, are all supposed to be set around the same time period. And my first theory is that you're going to have a situation where you will have all three series at one point they're all going to kind of move into one final showdown, where you'll have the Mandalorian and Ahsoka and the Rangers. Everything's going to build to, I think, one big gigantic climax at the end with all three shows.
I feel like that's probably likely,
because they're all taking place around the same time, and we talked about this a little bit on on my other podcast. That was the way that I wouldn't mind if they all if all three shows led to right before the events of Force Awakens, so that all these shows kind of lead into Force Awakens.
With Marvel being over there as well, it's entirely possible they'll do like the Netflix series did with Iron Fist and Luke Cage and everybody, and they ended up, putting together a special 4-episode series of all of them together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, I'm sure they'll do crossovers.
And that's one thing I'll say, DC's good at that with their
stuff like
television shows. When they do the Infinite Earths and all of that stuff.
The crossover, the big crossover.
I would love to definitely see that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now,
we haven't heard much about what exactly Rangers is going to be, though. As far as what these Rangers are going to be, is it going to be like what we see in The Mandalorian, where it's the space cops just going around?
That would be my guess.
Are
they're
these
the
going
law
to be
enforcement arm of the Republic? Since you don't have Jedi Knights there, to do the justice thing anymore.
Yeah, the Rangers. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I've got one I can show here. Another trailer. Just give me a second to set this all up.
Awkward silence. All right.
Oh. Looks like Filoni and are also doing Ahsoka.
Oh, that makes sense because Ahsoka was Filoni's creation, so it would make sense that he would be involved with the Ahsoka series, heavily involved. I'm guessing that he's probably involved with most of at least the television.
Yeah. If they were smart.
And Joe left the room.
He's out.
Yeah.
He ran away.
He's
I was hearing you guys. It just wasn't letting me just switch the screens back easily. But I got sound in my trailer.
Oh.
Did you guys hear the sound when I played it?
I didn't even see the trailer.
I didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything.
Wow. That's not cool.
The technology.
No.
How strange.
Which trailer did you try to demonstrate for us?
I will try it one more time if you guys don't mind.
All right.
Andor.
Sure. Go ahead. Oh, the Andor trailer.
It's showing up now.
Yeah.
No sound though.
No sound.
Yeah, that must be them because.
Yeah, I've seen that one. I have seen that before.
As you can see, we're getting ready. We're building stages. We're rehearsing. We're training. We're trying costumes. We're doing everything to make sure we do the best show. I'm really excited having the chance to explore Cassian. It's really fun to go on a set that is emulating something you like so much. The enormity of this is like doing a big feature film. It's very cinematic. For me, that's where the excitement is.
12 episodes, 12 scripts, over 200 named cast members, over 6,000 crowd people, creatures that come into the creature department.
We treat this exactly like we would have filmed. There is no difference in our approach.
Every creature and droid that we've been building has the same care, level of attention to detail as the previous films.
It's huge, it's thrilling, but also it's wonderfully challenging.
There's tons of possibilities to explore. It is the building of a revolution.
I love that the Andor the symbol
Yeah,
it's
show. Like a
that is
super
cool.
early version of the Rebel Alliance, you know?
Yeah. I love the fact that from what I hear, I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy heading it did a few of the Bourne movies, and they've said that this is definitely going to be a kind of espionage spy thriller type of a show, and I think that's a cool idea, and putting someone there that has been in that genre gives that just a little bit more, I think. I'm definitely looking forward to the Andor series.
I loved in Rogue One. What his attitude was always what it takes.
Yeah.
Which
and I like the that they're gonna have K2SO in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of my favorite droids.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah, I love K2. K2 is up there along with, of course, Chopper from Rebels, but K2 is definitely
and it's nice because we haven't been getting, other than Rogue One, we've never had that lead up to the full rebellion.
Right.
And now we get to see what's going to lead up to that part, to Rogue One, and it just flowed so seamlessly into A New Hope that I'm excited to get some more background over there.
Yeah. And my question is, will we get characters that we've seen from some of the other shows? Like, will we get characters from Rebels or the Clone Wars?
It's all possible. They could throw anybody at us with that one because of the time period they've chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the time period,
I mean, and this says a lot if a imperialist such as Joe is excited for this, Well,
I'm really keeping my fingers crossed for the time period
for
because, my Lord could show up in it.
True. Very true.
Could very easily have Darth Vader show up.
Yes. Speaking,
they would be kind of unwise if they didn't.
Speaking of which,
that would be dumb. They got to bring him in. And speaking of that, the news, where I know where Mark's going.
News, of course, came out before with the return of Hayden Christensen to the Star Wars universe, playing Darth Vader and the wow. This is one of those times that I definitely was disappointed that because of the whole COVID-19 pandemic, that we weren't able to get a full live in studio reveal, because I think that would have been amazing if they would have brought in, like they would have made an announcement for the new, some new footage or whatever from the Obi-Wan series, and then they bring Darth Vader out, and then Darth Vader, he takes off the helmet and it's Hayden. I think I
think that would have drawn a lot more happiness from
but that being,
because as we see, we've got the haters have already chimed in on that.
Yeah, I think that's few and far between. Most of what I've seen, at least from the websites that I'm on, social media accounts I'm on, I've seen mostly positive. I've seen majority have been positive from where I sit.
Well, the articles have been really,
maybe one or two naysayers.
Start reading all the comments underneath.
Yeah.
And I have a tendency to do that just to keep track of where what's on the pulse. And there's comments out there. If we didn't like him in the first 3 movies playing Anakin, how are we going to like him as Vader? And it's ridiculous. Or the non-acting jokes. And, he made some other stuff after Star Wars that were reasonably okay. I enjoyed. And,
I honestly liked Hayden Christensen in Revenge, like in Episode 3. I thought he did a really good job for what he was given to work off of and where he was in Episode 2. I think he kind of came into his own, and I think it's a good move to have him reprising that role.
Absolutely. I mean, if you watch Star Wars 77 and pay attention to the acting ability of Mark Hamill and Carrie and everybody in that, the difference between how they were as actors in 77 to Empire.
Exactly. Yeah.
Night and day.
Oh, yeah.
Huge difference.
Yeah. And one thing I like the possibility of is, Hayden still looks young enough that you can still do flashback scenes. You could still do the possibility of having, flashback scenes of him and Obi-Wan, because they're both, and with the technology today, with the de-aging technology that they have, it's possible to de-age them enough so that you can put them back and have them in scenes from the Clone Wars and, showing that where he's remembering and, but my question is, do you want them to cross paths? Or because what it seems like by the time you get to Star Wars 77, and it seems like Vader hasn't seen Obi-Wan since the events of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, and you can take that
when it comes off.
When I left you, I was but to learner. Now I am the master. That could also be the last time he saw him. Not necessarily there on in the middle of a volcano burning up, but maybe he did see him once or twice after that. And Obi-Wan spanked him both times. He could still be spanking him.
Yeah.
And that's why surely he's dead by now, even though it wasn't that many years. Tarkin, they definitely needed to open that gap up a little bit on the years that have gone through.
I mean, Obi-Wan's been on Tatooine the entire time, and I feel like if Vader knew he was there, he would have just sent wave after wave of Stormtrooper.
Is there anything that says he was there the entire time? That he never left planet? I don't remember any canon saying that. It's assumed. It's headcanon. It's headcanon more than anything. So they're going to have to do something with him off planet. You can to do a whole series. I can't see Tatooine being that great a deal for a series.
I mean, I hope that they do something like that because you're absolutely right. I mean,
Well, it's only going to be
seen so much of Tatooine, you kind of start to get where Anakin was coming from about hating sand.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I really hope they take him off planet. There's always Leia's whole point of you served my father in the Clone Wars, but obviously Bail Organa knew where he was the whole time.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to say he didn't get messages from him during those intervening years to go do special missions.
This is true.
On behalf, quietly on behalf of the fledgling alliance. And, there's always a chance. Well, this nice thing is, could run into anybody now with what we've done in the universe. We've got a live action Ahsoka who could just be played earlier in the timeline by her. Just a little de-aging, which would be an awesome addition, especially with Hayden Christensen and Vader back. Is Kenobi and Ahsoka end up having something to do with Vader?
So this is what I just found. I just saw this on a website. Guy by the name of Joby Harold. He wrote for such shows as King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Will be taking over as head writer. And the series will be directed by Deborah Chow, who directed also previously. She directed, I think she's directed several episodes, a few episodes of The Mandalorian, and also Fear of the Walking Dead. So, but I think it's only going to be a one season. I think it's just one season.
Blows up, and then that was also the rumors with Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Was just going to be a single season. A couple years ago when they first started talking about it, and now it's finishing season 2, going towards season 3. Disney's, if it starts raking in money like the Mandalorian did for Disney Plus, then it will probably end up with a renewal.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
And halfway through, they'll know, and they'll start telling the writers and producers, directors to. Okay, start thinking about the story continuing past this point.
Right. Y'all better get to writing.
Is that big finale you had planned? You either need to scrap it or figure out how to keep going after it.
Yeah. Yeah. Tone it down.
Yeah.
And, and the nice thing is talking about
exactly.
Leads us straight towards Ahsoka getting her own series.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. With Rosario Dawson reprising her role from the
perfect because she looks
Mandalorian.
Like up Ahsoka.
Yeah, she was perfect in that episode. So I'm really excited to see what happens, and once again, the possibility of bringing in other characters from the Clone Wars, and more than likely, because they kind of hinted at that with her episode of the Clone Wars, that the big baddie is more than likely going to be Thrawn. Which I am excited to see the Grand Admiral
for the Empire. We also got to look at, there've been a lot of the rumors and the who fans want, and of course the guy leading in there to play him right now is Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
Who would make a good? I think he would make a good looking Thrawn. He's got that lean face.
See, the sites I'm on, and again, maybe we're just on different sites, but one name that I've been hearing a lot is Jason Isaacs.
Yeah.
From Star Trek Discovery. He was a front runner. The guy who did the voice, Mickelson. But yeah, I mean, there's a few names out there that I think could be.
And Isaacs could pull that off because he's got that arrogance.
I think
playing Malfoy for so many years.
Yes,
he's always been the whole bad attitude guy.
That'd be cool.
And then there's the rumors of Mandalorian. What Jedi is going to answer the call?
Yeah.
That could tie into this. That could tie into Kenobi by introducing a new Jedi if they wanted to. You could tie him into Ahsoka. Whoever it is in the Mandalorian shows up and talks to her.
Maybe it's Kenobi.
Well, not by Ahsoka's time. That's staying in the Mandalorian time frame.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what could be Kenobi showing up as Force Ghost as well? We can never put that past because Kenobi's around for a long time with that little bit of power. And then there's always this is also after Anakin and Vader.
Yeah.
In Ahsoka, so you could actually have Hayden Christensen show up as a Force Ghost to Ahsoka.
Yeah, that would be considering their past and I think that would be a very powerful moment right there to see, and for Ahsoka to realize and find out that he came back, that her master came back,
fought his way back to the light side.
To the light side,
and I look forward to that.
But now we move.
That's got to happen. They got to run her into Luke somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now the movie that I'm looking forward to the most, just because I was a huge fan of the books, and I think it's really cool, is Rogue Squadron. I am. The little teaser they gave at the beginning with the director talking about her past with her father. Well, let's stop talking about it and let's watch it. Give me 1 second.
Remember, we're not getting sound. Did you guys finally hear the sound on?
Oh,
that's because I took my headset.
Yeah, a little bit.
My microphone.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, I might have to do that.
Good job. Yeah, there's so much coming out.
And everything could lead right into another one, and everything's crisscrossing, which is a Marvel Universe trick.
Right. I just brought up a list, and I'm just kind of scrolling down, like, jeekers. There's so much.
I mean, High Republic.
All right. And I'm going to have to go back to, hold on. Where you at? All right, there we go. Screen sharing. And
to move fast and speed of any kind. I think that's because I grew up the daughter of a great fighter pilot, and every day I would wake up and go outside and look up and see my father and his squadron taking off in their F-4s roaring across the sky, and it was the most thrilling thing I've experienced in my entire life. So when he lost his life in service to this country, it ignited a desire in me to turn all of that tragedy and thrill into one day making the greatest fighter pilot movie of all time. But try as I might and look as I did, I couldn't find the right story ever. I kept looking and looking, but I just couldn't find the right one until now. Now I found a movie about two things I love. So I'm going to see you very soon.
I want one.
Pretty cool.
I know. Wow.
Now the problem is, I've heard that the timeline for that could be after Rise of Skywalker. It could be before, but the fighter looks like a an original trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like a 265.
Yeah.
Hoping it's New Republic, or maybe early New Republic era. And the one thing I'm hoping that we see is, if it is early New Republic era, that we see Dennis Lawson returning as Wedge Antilles as commander of Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
That would just, if they can get Dennis Lawson to come back as the, and I love the fact that you notice this, they made a change from the standalone Star Wars movies that they've done in the past. This isn't a Star Wars story. This isn't Rogue Squadron, a Star Wars story. This is Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're moving away from the Star Wars stories and just doing like, okay, it's all just Star Wars now.
Yeah, which you really don't need a Star Wars story. That I think was a Disney touch.
Yeah,
because it's pretty obvious if you have Lando Calrissian, it's a Star Wars story. It's
mm-hmm. Yeah,
true. It's true.
Yeah, but of course we also have you just mentioned it. We have a Lando series coming out, and this was the first one when I heard that. I'm just kind of like, okay, sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
I wasn't like. Yeah, it's not going to be for me like I'll watch it, but it's not going to be like I must see this, right when it drops, like I am kind of with Mandalorian, where it's like I wake up in the 5 o'clock, wake up and right before I go to work, I'm watching the Mandalorian that week's Mandalorian. And they're like, okay, sure, why not? And I was kind of the same way with the droid story.
Yeah,
it's just like,
well,
I feel like we kind of already had that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Lando's not. That wasn't my favorite character in Han Solo.
The movies.
In the movies, yes, I enjoyed it quite. I enjoyed the character quite a bit in Empire and
now. Yeah. Now, one thing that Brian from accounting brought up as a possible idea, I think it was Brian, I could be mistaken, was this idea of what if you bring the original Lando and have it initially set in after Rise of Skywalker, and then have it where he's telling the stories, and then you flash back to the younger Lando talking about his adventures. So he kind of brought that up as a possible idea for how the series could go. Is he's regaling his stories of his past and all his adventures and the things he had. And you could also, just because of the way Lando is, and where you never quite know if that's really how it happened or if that's just Lando being Lando and embellishing his adventures and some of the stuff that he went through and happened to him. But yeah, overall, it's just kind of like, okay, sure, we're getting a Lando series.
Yeah. Now I want to see Acolyte.
There it is.
Yes. Yes.
I got a feeling that's going to be on my side of the barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see something from that time period, because we've never, at least in the new canon, haven't yet got anything that is pre-Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Before the Clone Wars. We've never got anything from the High Republic, at least on screen. We've got the books and the comics coming out, but this is the closest. And they've proven before with Thrawn that they're not afraid to mess with to bring in characters from but mess with the timeline. Because if you remember, Thrawn was initially in Legends a character that came out in the New Republic era. It was in the unknown regions during most of the Galactic Civil War, and then he comes back during the height of the Republic. So they're not afraid of bringing characters in and messing with the timeline. So I'm wondering if this could be a perfect opportunity to bring in
Although
Revan.
if you go in Legends closely, he actually appears well before the Old Republic falls. In the book Outbound Flight, where he's Palpatine sends a message, destroy this ship that was going to take a bunch of Jedi out beyond the unknown regions, and he didn't want Palpatine's all, ooh, I could blow up that ship and get rid of a bunch of Jedi, and I don't have to worry about Jedi training something, others out there and coming back and messing up my plans.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the whole story that got Thrawn in trouble with the Chiss Ascendancy. Was him attacking, using a Chiss ship to attack the Outbound Flight.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't read that one, it's pretty good. That's because it starts off with Kenobi and Anakin flying part way on board.
Oh, wow.
And right before it heads into the unknown regions, they disembark at its last stop. So because Palpatine finds out he's on board, he's like, oh, recall Anakin. Get him off that. He knows what's going to happen to that ship, and he's got his plans and onions and onions and onions. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Sith, and we got the High Republic coming as well.
Right.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be to see the Republic at its quote unquote.
Yeah, I want to
height.
see the Republic and Acolyte and how they. Is Acolyte going to go into the Sith Empire being defeated? Is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what how far? Because I know from books when they talked about the High Republic, they were talking about 200 to 300 years before the Clone Wars. So not quite Old Republic, but you have the possibility of Yoda in this one because Yoda would be around. You have so many possibilities of completely new characters and completely new everything. And who will we see? Could we possibly see the beginning of Plagueis?
Right, because it's taking place at
we see Plagueis.
For Acolyte. So that would not be.
Ooh.
What
could if it's close enough in time period? Could the Acolyte possibly be Palpatine?
Oh, actually, that's pretty.
And we see a young Palpatine.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad.
Wow. I mean,
that could be exciting.
Yes. Let's see. What else Star Wars Visions. Of course, we have that coming, which is a series of shorts. That's one thing that I'm taking a wait and see with that one, to see how that goes, and because it looks like it's going to be in an anime style. So
yeah, they're all coming from different animation studios.
Yeah. And then of course we have the sad news that Jeremy Bulloch, the original Boba Fett, passed.
Yes.
Passed away pretty young, 75.
Yep.
So, best wishes from all of us here at War of the Stars to his family and friends.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely. We've lost a couple of big names in the Star Wars universe with David Prowse and now Jeremy. It's been condolences rough. To his family, definitely. Yeah,
we're gonna have to.
2020 can't end soon enough.
We're gonna have to get see Andrew Nelson back on because I know they were extremely close, and I'll bet you Andrew's got some really good stories to tell. Of them kicking off on set and such.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now, what I want to know is why, with all of these movies and short films and everything that they've got planned, we don't have a Porkins spinoff.
I know, right?
Like, give the people what they want.
Martyrs of the Rebellion.
Come on, guys. Maybe
Porkins
he'll be
and Biggs, buddy cops. That's what we need. We need a buddy cop. We need a buddy cop movie with Porkins and Biggs Darklighter.
Yes, there you go. That would be great.
Dude, you guys are sick.
Well, Joe and I had a pretty long conversation a few episodes ago. Where's our mall spinoff?
That's one that needs to happen.
Well, you have a couple series where Maul could definitely be in. I think Obi-Wan definitely, because they have that history there. I think the Andor series, especially if you're dealing with the criminal underground and Maul's connection to that, definitely. And depending on when Rogue Squadron takes place, if it takes place during the rebellion, then you could have Maul show up then. It just depends on when when each of the series takes place. And I mean, I think one of the biggest surprises for me with this was not what was announced, but what wasn't announced. I think a lot of people were expecting a Boba Fett announcement.
True.
And we didn't get that. But again, there is always, in the future, it could just be something that it's in the works and they don't want to officially announce either, a Boba Fett or as you mentioned, a Maul series. It could just be something that they don't want to officially make the announcement because maybe they need to tie some stuff down and get some actors in and
True.
figure out because I know they had the falling out with Ray Park playing with Maul and that whole fiasco. We're not going to go into that. But maybe they're looking at someone else to play the role and figuring out out all this other stuff. So it's just we can always look to the future and see. But for now, I think we got a ton of new shows coming out, and I'm excited for the future of Star Wars.
I'm going to watch IMDb so closely, probably a once a week check.
Yeah.
On each of these new shows and movies, to see as they start listing actors, roles, and because looking at some of the other Star Wars podcasts and groups out there, they've been started to post characters based on everything we've seen in the movies, characters that could show up in any one of these shows. Of course, there's always our favorite Mace Windu was one of those listed. As entirely possible to bring into basically any one of them. He could be the Jedi that answers.
True.
Possible.
We could see him in Ahsoka.
And I think that would be really interesting. Yeah. I think that would really be interesting is considering his with Boba. He killed, it was Mace who killed Boba Fett's father to see him to be the Jedi that answers, and have that, confrontation with him and Boba. And what does Boba Fett do when he, is face to face with his father, the person who killed his father? So that could be a really interesting, a lot of
that could cause
a lot of interesting questions to be answered.
So keep coming with the news, please, Disney and Lucasfilm.
Yes, definitely.
Because it sure helps.
Yes, definitely.
You have real meat to get into.
Yeah. And of course, if any of our listeners have any kind of thoughts, like we'd love to hear those too.
Please.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. Email us, send us the comments in the down below, and we'll answer those, and yeah. Well, I think we're going to start wrapping things up here, and before we get started with that, this will be our final show of 2020. We're going to be breaking for the holiday season. We'll be back next year in 2020, and I'm thinking this is going to be the biggest year for War of the Stars. 2021 is going to be just a great year for us, and looking forward to all the things we have in the future. So, Ray, why don't you start off and tell the people where they can find you?
Sure, I can do that. On any social media, if you go and type the Leo Effects, you're going to find me. You can even do that on Google and it'll pop up. I do War of the Stars with these two fine gentlemen here, putting out the best Star Wars knowledge that we got. You can find me doing One Crit Blunders. The page for that is on Facebook. That's a D&D game I do with Joe there. And some interesting stuff's been happening there. We're actually, I think, leaning towards a Sith version of Joe's character. So that's kind of neat for a D&D world. And then, of course, Tuesday nights, you can find me.
Joe's going.
Yeah.
My lawful good paladin. I good paladin had an accident with a helm of alignment opposition.
Slight mishap. And then every Tuesday night you can find me playing Shattered Dawn and the podcast Shattered Dungeons. We live stream from Twitch TV, so make sure to jump into chat and participate.
Awesome. And Joe, what about you? Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Find me on social medias under Joe Cahill, director producer, or Steamhouse Entertainment. As Ray said, One Crit Blunders here at War of the Stars. Also, speaking of Shattered Dawn, I got the honor to guest on their Christmas special, which will be airing on their Twitch TV channel next Tuesday. I'm extremely excited for that. We had a blast filming it last night. Ray threw us for several loops as our Arc Master. So that was a very interesting game run for a one-shot. And, check out some of the films I'm involved with Steamhouse Entertainment, The Night Mistress, Last Battleship, The Fifth Legion, and more that we're working on getting into production or finishing production on in case of Night Mistress. And there's a bunch of shorts out there, too, that we've helped produce. So check us out.
Cool. Awesome. You can check us out. You can email the show at warofthestars1@gmail.com. That is also our Twitter handle. You can check out the Facebook page, War of the Stars, the Facebook group. We are going to be doing several different each week. Let me talk for a second. We're going to start doing polls each week after the show and just kind of get you guys to get your thoughts on it, which, by the way, the results of last week's poll, we did a couple about what you guys are most excited about to see and your favorite ship. And we had a two-way tie between the X-Wing and the Slave One for the most popular ships in the Star Wars galaxy. So, I'm sorry, Joe.
I should have stuffed the ballot.
You should have.
Yeah. Logged on to
That's right.
Voted.
Well, that's how Palpatine rose to power.
No, Jar Jar got him elected to power.
Yeah.
And also you can hear us each and every week on several different platforms on anchor.fm. Of course, you can also check us out on Stitcher Radio, on pretty much anywhere podcasts are heard. Just type in War of the Stars, Star Wars podcast. You can check us out there. patreon.com/War of the Stars if you want to support us there. Also, there's a little V button up here on Get Vocal. You can check us out each and every week on Get Vocal. Just go to getvocal.com and sign up. It's absolutely free and is a awesome way for us to just interact with you guys live right here. And who knows, we might allow you on screen to talk with us about Star Wars. We've done it before, and we will probably do it again. So, yeah. With that being said, as I said before, we're going to be taking a hiatus for a couple of weeks to let you guys enjoy the holiday seasons and spend time with your friends and family. And we here at War of the Stars wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you guys celebrate out there. Be safe and have a good holiday season. And we will see you next year. And remember, this isn't just my Star Wars. This isn't just your Star Wars. This is our Star Wars. Until next year, may the Force be with you.